Let me start by asking you all something. Have you, at least once in your life, I know you're all very young, but at any point in your life, have you asked yourself this question? And the question is, who am I? Who am I? Sounds like a simple question, right? You see, the moment you're born, you're welcomed into a world that pretty much tells you who you are. You are enrolled into school by the time you're just 3 or 4 years old. And there are these milestones that are set on your path. And you're expected to reach these milestones by certain ages. If you are somebody who is slightly slow in reaching these milestones, or if you have a different approach towards these milestones, you're often like sidelined, you're isolated, fingers are pointed at you. And then you start believing, oh, so I need to be like everybody else. So you see, life becomes a saga. It becomes a saga of competitions, of comparisons, of peer pressure in the form of social media. So basically, you start running. And you start running in this rat race to achieve something, to prove yourself, and to maybe even one-up everybody around you. And you keep running, and you run, and you run, and you run, and you run, and bam! You hit the wall. What wall, you may ask me? It's the big black wall of burnout, as I would like to call it. Now, burnout presents itself in many different ways. It can be chronic stress, it can become an anxiety disorder, it can turn into clinical depression, or it can just be that feeling in the pit of your stomach that something is wrong with my life. This has happened to me, and this is my story. Fame came to me when I was really, really young, 16 years old to be precise. And when I say it came to me, it literally came and knocked at my door at a time when I was not looking for it and when I was not asking for it. And at 16 years old, I was a shy, slightly weird, curious, nerdy type of teenager whose idea of fun was actually just sitting inside a room on my own and reading a good book. And my ambition at that time was to actually become a teacher. But life pretty much changed overnight. So at the age of 16, I dove deep into work. I was traveling, I was doing concerts, I was recording for films, I was doing my own work, like doing my own albums and independent tracks and singles and all of that. And I used to love it. I used to love it so much. But the thing is, I was working in an environment that was very cutthroat and competitive. Everything was about contacts. Everything was about keeping the right relationships, maintaining the right contacts, penetrating the right kind of circles. This is just how it worked. And I was a big zero when it came to any of this. My PR was pretty much non-existent. I used to hate that about me. I used to hate that none of this came naturally to me. And I was always asking myself this question, why can't I just be like everybody else? Almost 2 decades. I've been in this industry for like 23 years. But I just knew on the inside that I did not belong. Then came social media. And with the onset of social media, the fact that people would present themselves to be a certain way, and in reality, they would just be the opposite. Art and artists all of that became reduced to numbers. Every conversation was about numbers. How many likes? How many subscribers? How many followers? How many clicks? How many? It was never about how deep, how meaningful, how impactful. It was just about how many. And I was told that I'm not doing enough. And imagine telling a working mother who's already overwhelmed and trying to stay on top of things, and people come and tell you that you're not doing enough. And every time I spoke about this, the response, or majority of the response, I should say, that I got was, "You're being too sensitive, Joe. You're overthinking, Joe. You need to relax. You need to take a chill pill and just go with the flow." And I was like, yeah, maybe everyone's right. I mean, most of the people seem to be okay with all of this, so maybe I should just go with the flow. And that's what I did. I kept running. I kept running, and I ran, and I ran, and I ran, and I ran, and bam! I hit the wall, you guys. The wall of burnout. And burnout came to me in the form of that feeling in the pit of your stomach that something is off. It came to me, and that feeling was so strong. And I believe that I was able to tune into that feeling because of my grounding practices, like yoga and meditation and journaling. And so every time I felt like something is not okay, I would pick up my journal and I would write pages and pages and pages. It was almost like seeing a therapist for me. And the more I wrote, the more the answer came to me, the more the answer became obvious to me that I need to slow down. I need to slow down, take a break, and figure out what the hell is going on, because it was that bad. Now, you can call this manifestation, if you believe in it. You can call it the work of the divine, or you can call it just pure, beautiful coincidence. My husband comes up to me one day and he tells me, "You know what? I have a job offer from the UK for 2 years." And I was like, wow, this timing is just perfect. Let's just go, please, let's just go. And before I knew it, I'm sitting in my room. I have all my bags packed, all my stuff packed. This is the night before my flight. And I'm sitting in my room and my mind is on overdrive. And that's what the mind does, by the way. That's what the human brain does. Right? You see, the human brain is designed to keep us safe. Ever since the time we were hunter-gatherers, it is designed to keep us safe. So every time we try to do something that is out of our comfort zone, or something that we are not used to doing, it will give you 1,000 reasons why you shouldn't be doing it. And that was what was happening to me. But there was no turning back. It was too late anyway. And so I hopped on my flight, and I was on my way to the UK. Life in the UK. Let me tell you about my life in the UK. In the beginning, I was extremely lonely. I was extremely overwhelmed, and I was second-guessing my decision every day because I gave up a life of comfort, of safety, of privilege, and I moved miles and miles away to a land where the people were different, where the culture was different, the weather was very different, and everything was like almost 10 to 20 times more expensive. But let me tell you about the flip side. Everything has two sides, right? So let me tell you about the flip side. The flip side is that, remember that curious nerd that I told you about, that I was once upon a time? That curious nerd kind of made her grand re-entry into my life. And one of the first things that I did when I got there was get a membership in the nearest library and read. I started reading, especially I was obsessed with English history, and I would visit all these palaces and castles and museums that I could lay my hands on. I would hop onto the tube, and I would do like a 30-minute tube ride, and I would reach the center of one of the greatest cities in the world, London, and I would just people watch. I would just watch people of different colors and different ethnicities and different shapes and sizes, and all of them just expressing themselves the way they are in the most authentic way without a care in the world. And so, I've always been quite curious about human behavior, and I've always asked myself, like, why do people do the things they do? Why do they say the things they say? And so I wanted to learn, right? I wanted to learn, and so I enrolled for a course. And the next 1.5 years saw me managing home, and I was also traveling and doing concerts at the time. Sleepless nights of completing my assignments, of studying, of practicing for hours. All of that later. Today, I stand before you as an officially certified life coach recognized by the International Coaching Federation. And so I dug deeper. I'm sure all of you know that there are 2 types of brains, the neurotypical brain and the neurodivergent brain. I had some questions about myself. And so one thing led to the other, and I ended up consulting a clinical psychologist who works with divergent people. I did one assessment. I did a second assessment. And I did a third assessment just to make sure. And I got my diagnosis. It turns out I am a late diagnosed, high masking, autistic adult. Yes, you heard that right. Autistic. And I'm sure most of you must be thinking, what the hell is she talking about? She doesn't look autistic, because we all have a very skewed idea about this topic. And another argument that I get is, we are all a little autistic in one way or the other. No. You are either autistic or you're not autistic. You see, autism, or any other kind of neurodivergence for that matter, is just a different way of seeing and understanding and perceiving the world and its information. And the moment I came to know about my diagnosis, it gave me the answers to so many questions that I had about myself. Why was I so sensitive to everything that was happening around me? Why did I feel everything so deeply? Why was I not able to take it easy when everyone around me was asking me to do just that? What I thought was social anxiety was in fact sensory overload, because I have a sensitive nervous system, because I was constantly exposed to environments that are not ideal for me. And what I understood to be a burnout was in fact an autistic shutdown, which happened as a result of the years and years and years of the invisible work of trying to mask so that I can fit into a world that is essentially made by and for neurotypical people. And the reason that I decided to share this with you all tonight is because there has to be more awareness. There has to be more understanding about divergence. And I'm sure there are a lot of other divergents and autistics like me who have been asking themselves these same questions that I've been asking all my life. And the change has to start from the grassroots level. It has to start from families, it has to start from teachers, it has to start from the school system. You see, parents and teachers, and everyone for that matter, have to be given the tools to identify divergence. Whatever kind of divergence it is. It could be ADHD, it could be autism, it could be giftedness, it could be twice exceptionality, whatever it is. We need the tools to identify this, especially in divergent children who are forced to fit into a system that is not made for them. And at the end of the day, they will just end up believing that they do not belong. Because the most important part about being divergent is that the struggles of a divergent person is most often invisible. It's on the inside. So today, I'm a musician. Of course, I'm still working with my music and I'm performing and all of that. And at the same time, I'm also working as a life coach, and my niche is artist coaching, and I have been able to provide guidance to some wonderful artists. And nothing is as satisfying as seeing them live a life that is absolutely true to who they are. The topic of today's TED Talk is Inner Renaissance, which, putting it simply, means personal growth. And personal growth is not about just becoming somebody else. No. Personal growth is about peeling off those layers of conditioning and societal beliefs that have been thrust upon you, and making the effort to look inside and figure out who you truly are. And for this, you don't have to move countries. You don't have to go to another country to figure it out. That's just my experience. That's just how it worked out for me. All you have to do is to slow down. Slow down, take that breath, and ask yourself the most important question: who am I? And the biggest privilege that you can give yourself in this lifetime is to live a life that is truly in alignment with who you are. A life that is truly in alignment with your physical and emotional and mental needs. So let me wind up today's talk by quoting a very beautiful saying by Carl Jung. And it goes, "The world will ask you who you are. The world will ask you who you are. And if you don't have the answer, the world will tell you who you are. And let's not wait for that to happen." Thank you very much.